Hello, and welcome back to Alchemy for Empaths. Today, I'm going to dive in a little bit about why empaths struggle with boundaries and just speak briefly to where you can look in your human design chart for some solutions to help you to set those boundaries a little bit better. Now, what I'll unpack is why there's some areas that empaths find it a little bit difficult to maintain healthy boundaries. And, there isn't a number of reasons for that. Empaths are like sponges. We draw things in from every direction. And then we have this lovely little thing as humans that we have is called conditioning and limiting beliefs and perception. So it's like our filter of how we are processing all that information. And some of our filters might need a little bit of upgrading, a little bit of cleaning, maybe needs to be changed, or switched out for a completely new model. And that's going to affect our ability to set those boundaries. Now, human design is really great, as I explained in my previous sort of intro video about Astro and HD for empaths, is human design is really understanding the car or your body that you're navigating in this life. So it's the energy that is available for you to use and how it kind of interacts with others. So it just really gives you another perception or more conscious idea of how your empathic gifts and traits work and your particular sensitivities. So let's dive into, work out how we can empower ourselves to set better boundaries using human design. So why do empaths struggle with boundaries? Well, we have heightened sensitivity. We absorb emotions and energies from others, often leading to those blurred boundaries. We don't know sometimes what is ours, what is others. And you might think, oh, I don't think I have a problem with that. Or, like I even use example like if you're in a workplace environment and you're just vibing on that tension and then you come home and you're suddenly snapping with everybody and you're like, but I'm not like this. I'm not this type of person. You've picked up those vibes from work. That's frustrating, but you may not necessarily be in a bad mood. It's just you're constantly picking things up. Like I know I've had a particular challenging day at work where I might be managing someone that is a little bit more difficult, and they might be trying to run away from the situation or diffuse it, and you're and or they might be upset because you are following up with them. I at one time would be feeling like I was taking on that energy of, oh, but they're so upset and they just feel really nervous and they're worried about what's going to happen. And then you're thinking, oh, well, maybe I won't follow up and discipline them so hard, but they have done a really bad thing. And things just sort of thoughts start popping into your head, and depending on how you receive the information, that may start to influence your actions and things that you're doing. So it's really, as an empath, important that we have an understanding of how we receive our energy into our body and how that is influencing us, so we can then put things in place to stop that from happening or to move it on quickly and let it go. Empaths struggle with boundaries because we are chronic people pleasers a lot of the time. So we feel compelled that we need to help people or to heal others and to let them know they're not alone in the world, that we understand what they're going through. But this can be at the cost of our own energy. um, And one of the most important lessons that I've learned along my journey as an empath, because yes, I am a recovering chronic people pleaser and I can still default into that, uh, is that we can't actually help everybody. And um, sometimes people need to help themselves, because nobody is going to make a change unless it comes from within. We are all sovereign people, and sometimes it's actually detrimental to be helping someone because we're not setting the bar high enough for them to meet to. And takers can keep taking because they think other things are going to fix the issue, rather than them fixing it themselves. So sometimes it can be a bit of a disservice to be a people pleaser and to help. But human design will let you see in the ways and the areas in which that people pleasing might be unpacking, and where that's playing out. We do have a tendency to over identify with others. So we sort of can have that difficulty in distinguishing our own feelings with others' emotions. So I mean, I use this to my advantage sometimes. If I really want to get myself motivated and fired up, I go into a group or an area or contact someone and speak to them, um, where they've got that vibe. So, and I'll come away and I'm like, yes, I'm doing this. Right, let's go. Like, it can work for the positive. But if you think about it from the negative aspect, and if I go back to that negative work environment, where you've got people that are just down all the time and they're not happy at being in the workplace, you're really identifying with that. Though you might be fine. It might be absolutely a perfect, comfortable workplace. You don't have an issue with anything happening. You've got no problems with anyone. But there's that bad apple there, or a couple of people that are feeling really negative and down, or they've had a bad experience. You start to take on board those feelings and start to second guess and question your choices and decisions, or it could reflect in you come home and you're just in a bad mood because you've been around people in a bad mood all day. And how that all knocks in, and a really big symptom for empaths that don't have their boundaries set in place, is this energetic fatigue. Without boundaries, empaths become emotionally and physically drained. And so I call them like energy leaks. And, energy leaks can be in lots of different areas. It can be the big ones where you've got those energy vampire people that just seem, like you go away with a hole in your head after you've spoken with someone, to all those little things that are an inconvenience that you're just putting your effort into. If someone's constantly on your mind, because you're worried about them, because you care for them, or you understand their situation, you wonder how they're doing, that's taking your energy and your focus away from you. And so that's going to have an energetic drain on you. So you're constantly tired. So, and that's a simple boundary to start with, honestly, because it's just about yourself and reframing your own thoughts, and to detach and clear, where you don't even really need to take any action, big scary action with someone and say, no, don't do that. There's still a lot of people we need to do that with. It's more for ourselves to be switching off, releasing, and letting go of that concern and that worry for the other person. Now, if we have a look in human design, some of the sort of key challenges that we have in the previous um, chat, I spoke about having open versus defined centers. So a center, we have the 9 centers through our body, and some of them are open, where we absorb and amplify others. And it depends on the area. So if it's in your solar plexus, you're absorbing others' emotions. And so that can make it hard to be emotionally grounded. If your spleen is open, you're taking in all those fears and worries. open head. You know, the thoughts that drop in, you'd be more influenced of the thoughts of others, and things that they say. So it all starts to come in. If you have an open identity center, you may struggle with your sense of self and be influenced by others' expectations on how you should present in the world. And it's really, especially like as an empath, to have an open identity center, you're often asking, like, who am I? What do I like? Like, what do I want to be like? Or you might want to be like, oh, follow this fashion trend for a time, and then you'll be like, oh, but I don't know if that really feels like me, but oh, maybe I'll go with this. And you just sort of seem to be wandering aimlessly throughout the world, going, well, who am I? I don't know. An open sacral center. Um, they can be prone to exhaustion from overcommitting and absorbing others' work energy. So if you get a projector and a generator together, so generators are all about the sacral and they go, go, go. And when they're in something that they really enjoy, like that could be a really positive energy to work off, but a projector will take that energy and amplify it because they're an open sacral, and that's just they're going to be spouting that out, and it's going to wear them out because they don't have that off switch when it comes to utilizing that energy. So it's just really going to lead them to total exhaustion. And not having an awareness of that is just like, well, why am I tired all the time? It's just like, well, are you overcommitting to that work energy? And because also projectors, they like to do it right. They're smart. They really want to really drive things out there in the world so that they really take on that work energy and dial it up 110, 200%. The open root center, the base center. So just lots of pressure and urgency from external sources. So like getting things done on time, deadlines, etc. And if that's open and, you know, people are talking about, oh, we're not going to get this done or we're not going to get that done, like you're going to feel that impact a lot stronger. Uh, and then some of the common patterns that you might find between the different types, so like projectors and reflectors, they may face boundary issues because they're quite open and highly sensitive. They've got generally more open centers within their body, so because everything's running all at once and they're so open, especially reflectors, because everything's completely open, they are going to wear themselves out super fast. And like the impact of that on your nervous system, and if you're aware of that, you really need to plan self-care time to ensure that your body is supported, because you can't use your superpowers and you can't operate in the world unless you support your physical body to be able to manifest and do that. Generators, they feel, and many gens feel compelled to respond to everyone's needs. So they want to they want to help everyone all the time, but it's not necessarily what they want to do, but they feel compelled to respond. Like it's that yes no switch. The yes switch is on more than the no switch, and so that leads to a lot of frustration, and that is quite energy draining. So solution in human design around that is understanding your authority. So that is your decision making center, we call it. So if you've got an emotional authority, you need to wait out your emotional waves before making decisions. And, you know, rather than jumping on board because, yeah, I'm excited and I'm in that high wave of, yeah, let's do it, because you might be feeding off someone else's excitement. It's to go away, get some space, to get some clarity, and it prevents that reactive decision. Sacral authority, that is a real gut response to determine yes or no. And that's as simple as or It's, you use those sounds and you really connect into that center. Is this aligning for me? Mm-hmm. Or is it? Mm-mm. and it can be quite a quick decision. But some people get their brain, if you've got an open head center or ajna, and oh, you're taking on board people's thoughts of, well, they should be doing this, or they should be, they've got really good strengths in this area, or they're quite experienced in it, and you're taking, oh, well, maybe I should be doing it, but you've got to trust that gut. Do you want to do it, or you don't? Splenic authority, that's similar to sacral in the respect that it's quite an instant, immediate, intuitive knowing. And it's with the splenic authority, it's an instinctual, um, and it's about people and situations. You just suddenly, and there will be a place in the body where splenic authority, people will feel it. So some people, it might be just, through their throat, they might get a tightening in their throat, or um, it's a real physical element, or they just like, oh, yeah, and they just know. So you have to really trust yourself to follow that intuitive knowing. We have ego authorities, and that's empowerment through self-worth. And they need to prioritize their needs and say no without guilt. So the ego authority is coming back to themselves, and really needs to check in with themselves. And self-projected authority, these people need to speak out their decisions, to hear their own truth. So, and that will give them clarity to affirm boundaries. So, if you're a verbal processor, or you might need to just call someone and say, hey, can I just talk to you, and you listen, so you can speak out all your thoughts and feelings to just clear that, and you will come to a decision. Or go, if you've got nobody to call, you go stand in front of a mirror to get it all out. Or voice memo on your phone is really helpful, and that helps you to get clarity about the decisions that you have to move forward, and around like how you will set that boundary. So, little practical steps for setting boundaries, based on understanding your human design, is know your energy centers. So, understand where you're most vulnerable to external influence. So, those are your open centers. Tuning into your authority. So, regularly practice checking in with your decision making process to ensure alignment. So, again, emotional center, I need to take time out and ride my emotional wave before making a decision on something. Really good thing to help you with setting these boundaries is a daily cleansing ritual. Now, this could be as simple or as complex as you like, and that is to reset your auric field. And it's just about releasing. I often do it in the shower. So you just wash away, and it's all through the empower of intention. That is where the power comes from, is I release, I choose to core cut, you visualize things going away, but what you release, you need to fill up with some bright light, or fill up your bubble, call in Reiki. Like, there's lots of different ways that you can bring that out. Sometimes you may need to do a deeper cleanse, or a protection. Like, I sometimes be like, oh, I feel like I've got something hanging around. So I'll do a deeper cleanse. I do a lot of shamanic practice. I call in snake medicine, which is highly transformative, shedding of a skin, to release all of that and cut any cords attached. You can also use crystals. Essential oils are really great. They have, like, there's some ones that are quite cleansing. So your tea tree, your eucalyptus, your rosemary, peppermint, they're all quite clarifying. You could, people burn sage, obviously. I mean, but if we're conscious of resources and things, there's lots of different things. And obviously sound is really, really great. Like, sometimes I will just put on certain types of music and have a movement, dance around, just being silly, to help shift that energy out, and to clear it. Like, especially if it's, for me, if it's an emotional energy, like I'm really upset or sad, like I'll put on something really, like, be that really heavy metal or something that's quite dramatic to really get it out of my system. The vibration clears that. Um, Again, empaths need a lot of safe space and time alone with low stimulation to connect with yourself. And I do actually want to make an additional point. Social media for empaths is huge and hugely draining, because you get in the comment section and you're connecting with the vibe of that. Like, you don't have to necessarily be in a physical environment to be picking up on energy patterns. I mean, I do a lot of distance healing. I can connect in with the energy fields of animals and people, and I'm not in the same room as them. So on social media, that's amplified times thousands, times millions. So curating the space of what you engage in and the algorithm, I mean, the algorithm's set up to show you things that will hold you there for longer. So sometimes those things that keep you there are things that might be not the best for you because you're like curious and it's making you angry, and then that's feeding a negative energy pattern within your body, and it's going to be draining as an empath, and you're going to take on board more of what they're saying in those comments. And then the hardest one for empaths is to practice saying no. So use your authority to make empowered decisions about what to take on and what not to. Who are your important people that you are going to give your time to? It's a scale. Like, you check in with yourself every morning. How am I feeling physically? What am I able to take on? Okay, if someone comes up to me, do I have the capacity to really connect with them? And as an empath, that happens a lot. People come and talk to you, they share their stories, and, believe it or not, you're working your magic while they're doing that. But, sometimes you just might have to be brief to cut it off and to move on, because energetically you may not be feeling in the right place to take on board that for the day. So that was a little bit of a brief overview on why empaths struggle with boundaries and where to look in your human design chart, HD chart. So it really is due to the sensitivity and your openness, and human design can tell you where you are more open and more prone to taking on board those energies. So I really encourage you to go explore those areas, to see where your boundary needs is. And a really good activity, which I will leave you with today, is keep a list, write down a list of everything that bugs you, people, things, or things that seem like they're draining your energy. I mean, for example, when I did this exercise, first did it, I lived on the second floor of an apartment, and coming home with the kids, going up and then taking the dog out to go to the toilet and going back up again, like, it just, like, by the time I'd got home from work, doing the school pickup, doing that, taking the dog out toilet, and before starting dinner, it was just so draining. So when I was looking for my next home, I wanted to drive up, open the door and get out. And honestly, the impact of that on my energetic well-being was massive. So you write that down. It could be people that you might need to set boundaries with, or people who are you overthinking about, who are really get under your skin or annoy you. So how could you then set personal boundaries to stop that from happening? It could be some of them you do have to have a conversation, but you really just focus on the small steps first. And it could be social media. So I recently have an app that locks me out of social media between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. Because it's not healthy for my mental health and my physical health to start a day. Starting my day carrying all that energy from social media is not good. And I've been way more productive and happier since getting rid of that in the morning. So you just, pick the things that you're able to tackle first, and you will start to shore up all those little energy leaks. Of course, I am available for a reading if you would like to understand your chart a little bit in more detail and you're just struggling to navigate and put all the pieces together. And I can also give you a few more action tips and tricks and ways to actually apply it in the real world. Like, it's great to have the information, but it's how we integrate it. So it's called the Empowered Empath. Now, I do include astrology and human design. It just really depends on what's coming forward. I connect into your questions empathically or intuitively, to see what's going to be the best to work through with you, and what information you might need. And I also include a great little guide on setting better boundaries. So if you want to connect with me, I will pop the link in the down below, and or in the show notes if you're listening via podcast, and so you can jump and book. But otherwise, if you can like, share, leave a review, that would be much appreciated. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Much love. Bye.